On March 24, 2015, a Germanwings Airbus A320 sat at the gate at Barcelona El Prat Airport in Spain. Germanwings Flight 9525 was a scheduled flight from Barcelona El Prat Airport to Dusseldorf Airport in Germany. On board, the 144 passengers settled in for what would be a relatively short flight. Sitting in the captain's seat was Patrick Sondenheimer, a 34-year-old who had been with Germanwings since March of 2014. He had logged over 6,000 hours of flight time in his career. Sitting next to Patrick in the first officer's seat was 27-year-old Andreas Lubitz, who had been with Germanwings since September of 2013 and had 630 flight hours. At 10:01 local time, the two Rolls-Royce engines were powered to takeoff thrust and the plane began rolling down the runway. Soon the plane took off into the morning sky of Spain, bound for Dusseldorf in Germany. All was normal in the cockpit of Germanwings Flight 9525. At 10:27 local time, the plane reached its cruising altitude of 38,000 feet after climbing for 26 minutes. Just minutes after reaching cruising altitude, Captain Sondenheimer got up and exited the flight deck to use the bathroom. Little did he know that this would be a grave mistake. Right after Captain Sondenheimer left the cockpit, First Officer Lubitz locked the door and changed the assigned altitude from 38,000 feet to 100 feet. At 10:31, the plane began its descent. Outside of the cockpit, Captain Sondenheimer could be heard kicking and banging on the door and screaming at Lubitz to let him in. However, Lubitz, who was going through extreme mental health issues, was not going to let Captain Sondenheimer back into the flight deck. Tragically, just 10 minutes after beginning the descent, the plane crashed into a mountain in France, taking the lives of everyone on board the plane. And now the question has to be asked, how was a clearly mentally unstable pilot able to fly this plane, and why didn't he turn himself in and get help? Of course, an investigation was launched into this crash to answer this question and others. The French Bureau of Inquiry and Analysis for Civil Aviation opened an investigation into the crash and was later joined by the Federal Bureau of Aircraft Accident Investigation from Germany. Earlier in Lubitz's career, he had had depression and as a result was put on antidepressants and had psychiatric treatment. Eventually, he got his pilot's license back and continued flying as usual, but he was told if he needed any more psychiatric treatment in the future, he would be grounded permanently. As you can imagine, for a lot of pilots who are not comfortable financially, losing their job as a pilot could pose serious problems to their livelihood. This creates an environment where pilots are scared to admit that they need help and that they're mentally ill. After Lubitz's depression returned, he was told by his doctor that he couldn't work. He chose, however, not to tell Germanwings. Something you have to understand is that pilots are trusted to tell their employer when they're unfit to fly. In this case, Lubitz knew that he was unfit to fly but chose not to tell his employer, and the following events were tragic. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I want to thank you for watching. This video took me a really long time to make, 10 to 15 hours probably, and if you like the content I make on this channel, I would really appreciate you subscribing. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.